like impossible because it's ingrained in us that imperialism is good. You know, the trickle down economics. King Chuck ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Anyways, the name of the show is Take the Mask Off. All right, take the mask off. So it's like the idea of it's kind of related to when I talked about code switching the other day, you know, pretending, you know, being afraid to be who you are, you know, um, looking for the reassurance of others, looking to be accepted in the crowd, accepted by others, afraid to make your own way in life, afraid to follow your dreams, afraid to try to do what you want to do, in life, you know. I think that a lot of us are suffering in our modern society in lots of ways. But one of them is being authentic or inauthentic. W- we it's like we can't be authentic. We're not allowed to be authentic, and you get shunned, outcasted, and ridiculed for being your authentic self. Everyone expects you to put on the face, to put on the mask, to pretend. It's like you're never supposed to be unhappy. It's like I listen to all kinds of music, and pretty much that's what I've been doing while I've been taking the break. I've been unplugging. I plugged back in at the beginning of this week so I can be ready for the show. But the few weeks that I was out, I pretty much didn't watch any news. I was watching that show on HBO, The Last of Us. I'm gonna come back to that because I want to make some comments related to that show. But mostly, I've just been listening to music, and I listen to all kinds of stuff. You'd be very surprised. My playlist is public, by the way. King Chuck ENT. You can find it on Spotify. I listen to all kinds of stuff, and now I always have my earphones on, so I'm not playing music for anybody else. I used to put the system in my car. Every car I would get put a system in it, make sure it's banging and sounding really good. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore because I don't even listen to music in my car like that. I have my earphones on, so and I don't try to entertain other people nearly as much as I used to. So, but I remember when I used to play music all the time for others. And like I said, I listened to everything. And whenever it was like a sad song or something that would come on, it'd be like, "Why are you listening to that?" Like that's what people would say. They would be like, "Why are you doing that? Are you sad?" And it's like, it's not that I'm sad. But as humans, we experience a range of emotions. It's kind of like the idea of balance. And going back to being authentic and wearing a mask. It's like you listen to party music all the time. Do you really party all the time? Are you always in the party mood all the time? Like you ever listen to some like more somber music? Do you ever feel more somber? Maybe sometimes you do feel sad. And just because I'm listening to a sad song doesn't mean that I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? And I can appreciate the feelings that that person is having or that artist is having with the music that they're making. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm in a great mood, you know, I can feel it. I can hear it. And it takes me on my range of emotions. I think that it keeps me more balanced. It really does. That's the way I feel about it, anyways. Sometimes I really love to listen to sad music. I love it sometimes, you know. And sometimes I like to listen to party music all the way, you know. And sometimes I like to listen to, like, you know, Immortal Technique, and he's talking all politics and stuff, you know, or somebody else, whoever, like all the full range, gangster music, you know, trap music, shit, classical music, all of it. I listen to all of it, pop music, the whole range. I love good music, and it doesn't good music doesn't have a genre. Okay, so anyways, I'm talking about authenticity, you know, and people feeling some kind of way when I play sad songs. And it seems like those same people who always have a problem with that are the people that are really very sad on the inside. And I think that that's the reason why they don't want to hear those songs, is because it's way too real, it's way too true, it's way too close to home for them. You know, the person that likes to listen to party music all the time is the same person who's really very sad inside, you know, and they're masking it with this party music. They're masking it with this attitude of I'm happy, let's have fun, you know. Uh, it's 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 not authentic, okay? You know, and it's like the internet, especially now, like everything is so fake, right? The whole internet is fake. All of these videos that go viral, all of this stuff that y'all are scrolling down, the ones, they're all fake, okay? 99% of them are fake, staged, and bad acting, you know? And we watch them and we scroll and we're like, oh, that's messed up, or whatever emotion that the video is trying to induce in you, you completely manipulated by it. And like I say, I mean, like the fake boobs, the fake butts, the, you know, the plastic surgery, you know, it's we champion that stuff. You know, we want to be perfect, right? And then, like I always say, God made you perfect already. When you was born, you was perfect. You came out of the womb and you survived and you grew. That means you're perfect, perfectly suited for this world, okay? And perfectly made for this world, okay? And we need to embrace that. We need to embrace our authenticity, you know, where the things that we call imperfections or the things that we're ashamed of, that, you know, we need to embrace those things, because those are who make us who we are. You know, those are what gives us our individuality. Okay? That is what it is. So that's what I'm saying when I say take the mask off. You know, I guess sometimes you have to wear the mask, or sometimes you want to wear the mask, you know, that's perfectly fine. You want to have fun. Carnival, Mardi Gras, you know, that's what's been going on recently, you know, the celebration of the return of the sun, you know, going into the actual real new year, you know, uh, this is where we're going into, you know, it's reason to celebrate. It's the celebration of life. It's rebirth, you know. It's the time for, you know, the birds and the bees, you know, the sprouting of the plants, you know, planting season. Perfect weather, you know. As humans, you know, we love to be outside in the sun, you know. Like I say all the time, I think that we're a lot like plants, you know. We're a lot like plants. So when the sun comes back, it automatically puts us in a good mood. It's like if you grow plants, I used to grow a lot, and you know, they move, they move. They're not stationary, they move. And if you really pay attention, they perk up. Not only do they perk up, but as the sun goes throughout the day, they move along with it and kind of like face it, you know? That's why I really like the prayers, the ones that different religions do in the morning time when the sun is going up. I think those are some of the greatest, nicest, most proper prayers. It's not necessarily sun worship, okay? Although, if you were going to worship something, something that's real, something that brings life to the world, I think that's something worthy of worship, you know? Okay? Now, I'm not knocking any religion or saying be a pagan, if you will, but the other title that I was thinking about going with for tonight was blasphemy. And it's like, I ain't going to go too far into it because I really want to do it again later, but blasphemy is the idea of, it's the way it's used is to scare people away from knowledge in a lot of circumstances. Okay, so as soon as you start digging into something that you're not supposed to know about or whatever or completely understand, they call it blasphemy, and it scares people away, and then they go run and stick their head in the sand, and they become childlike. you know any question is worth asking. you know any doubt is worth exploring. That's how we get that's how we gain knowledge. Okay? That's how we move forward. That's how we grow. Okay? So the message is, take the mask off. Be your authentic self. Be true. Be real. Don't be afraid to be that no matter what, even if it leaves you alone, completely alone, because there's others out there. And the ones that are going to love you authentically are the ones that's going to love your authentic self. The ones that's going to be attracted to you. It doesn't even have to be in a emotional, sexual kind of way. They're going to be attracted to your authentic self, your real self. You know, that's what makes you beautiful. Your authenticity is beautiful. Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, what you those parts of you that you are ashamed of, the parts that you hide. You know, those are the parts that make you beautiful. There's balance in everything. There's light, there's dark, there's yin, there's yang. There's left, there's right. There's positive and negative charge. That's the only way these things can exist, really. That's how the universe was formed. That's how the universe works. You can't have one without the other. Anyways, back to I mentioned The Last of Us, the show on HBO. And I also I went to the bar one night and I had a drink at the bar. I'm a regular at this bar, and it just so happened to be a fight night and the bar's all packed. I hate it. I hate it when it's packed. And I hate the UFC stuff. But I'm gonna tell y'all, it's the first UFC fight that I've ever seen from beginning to end. You know, I cringed throughout it all. It wasn't like I could do anything else. I was in there with my earphones. I'm the weirdo that's at the bar with his earphones on. But there's nowhere to look, really, because the UFC thing is on every TV. I'm just sitting there having my drink, relaxing after a long day at work. And I'm watching this. And I'm not only, but I'm watching the people and how they react to it. And, it's like the people, they really just kind of just want to see somebody's face get smashed in. Like, they get excited when someone is it's so different from boxing is pretty damn brutal, but UFC, it takes it to a whole nother level. Like the parts where if it was in a boxing match, the referee or whatever you call him, he would have jumped in and kind of broke him up and split him up or whatever. But in the UFC, they let him keep going. It's like, oh my God, man, knees to the face and headbutts and elbows, and those boxing gloves that they use has just a little bit of padding on them, and they don't wear any freaking protective equipment as far as I can see. And like I say, man, I really don't like it. It's so brutal. It's so violent, and it's kind of excruciating to me. But anyways, it's the first one I've ever seen from beginning to end, and see who won or whatever. It was like a championship match or whatever. Um, I don't know. I mean, I ain't gonna say I enjoyed it because I did not. Um, but I would say, I was unplugging from my politics and from like all of the research and stuff that I do normally. And like Pat was saying, getting a little cholesterol in my system. So it's like trying to be more balanced as far as like, I don't know if it's me trying to fit in with others or trying to understand others better or whatever, or maybe try to be more normal, if you will. I don't know. Um, so that was that. And the same thing with watching the show The Last of Us, because I don't watch very much television like at all. And I'm enjoying that show though. I ain't gonna lie, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. And in the last episode, I'm not gonna spoil the show for y'all, but in the last episode, they were talking about it was a community that they came up on. Okay, so the setting is like the end of the world, right? Zombies and stuff. And they came up on like a compound that had everything, and they were living pretty good given the circumstances of like the end of the world. And they were like, yeah, we share everything, um, and we work together, as a community. And the guy was like, he made a comment. He was like, "Oh, so communism?" And the guy was like, "No, no, not like that." And then his wife was like, "Yes, like that." He says, "It is communism. This is the commune." And it's like, the idea is when things really get ugly, that's when you see real true solidarity in humans. That's when sharing comes in. I think that when things are really good, that's when people want to hoard, and that's when people want to keep others from having as much as they have, or something like that. Or like it's this competition thing that goes on. But socialism, communism, capitalism. Capitalism can only work in like really great times. It's kind of like I was writing a paper earlier today. I had to turn in, and I talked about 9/11, and it's like, September 11th, the terrorist attacks. And I was sitting there watching this on TV as it was happening live. I remember this so clearly. I remember when the buildings came down and how the way the people acted. And it was such a, it was a horrible, horrible event. But it was such a beautiful thing to see how the people came together in the immediate aftermath of it. You know, how like, New York has a reputation where like, you could be hurt really bad going through it, and hundreds of people will walk by you on the sidewalk, and before anyone offers to give you a hand, if anyone does, to anyone comes to your aid, and it's hundreds and hundreds of people in the near vicinity, and they're just walking by, walking by, walking by, and you're going through a super traumatic event, and everyone just act like they don't care. But when 9/11 happened and the buildings came down, these people, everyone, and it didn't matter about race, it didn't matter about gender, sexual preference, age, any of the categories they like to put us in as humans, left, right, what your political ideologies were. Everyone just started digging. Everyone just started looking for survivors and pulling people out of the rubble, and, at their own peril. You know, that's true altruism. I think that humans are naturally altruistic. Did I put the link in the comments? Okay. People are naturally altruistic. I really believe that. Okay. After 9/11, it showed it. The people, they just started digging through the rubble, and they were in danger. They were in danger. They could have died too. They were putting themselves in peril for the opportunity to help someone, just because it was a moment, It was so horrible. And it's like there's people dying all over the place. And I could save someone because, every minute, every moment matters. It's the difference between life and death for someone who's up under some rubble or stuck in something or whatever the hell. And with their bare hands, people were just pulling at the rocks and pulling at the concrete and just digging and digging and pulling people out. It was beautiful to see, bring tears to my eyes, to see humans come together in that way. Why does it take such a major tragedy like that for us to come together and want to help each other? That's a question I have. How come we can't be like that in other times? Like, I'm not saying put yourself in a position where you're going to be hurt. you know don't put yourself in a position to be hurt. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, us as humans, we can have some solidarity with each other all the time. you know Slicing the bread, breaking the bread, like they say. you know you got people who are starving, who are probably right in your neighborhood. They're probably your neighbors' children, the parents of your neighbors' children, the grandparents of them. You know, all they could use a slice of bread, a cup of sugar, some peanut butter and jelly. You know, and you have it in your cupboard, and it's been there collecting dust. You know, but we have this mask that we wear where we pretend that we don't care for others. You know, we we pretend that you know we don't feel the pain of others. We pretend that the suffering of others don't affect us. We pretend that we have to hoard all of these resources for ourselves in order for our own survival, and that's and others have to be sacrificed as a result. It's the idea of the survival of the fittest, and I really hate how people have misconstrued that idea of survival of the fittest and used it in a way just to be shitty to others. It doesn't mean that, but the meaning that survival of the fittest has taken on today is not necessarily what it was meant. What nature is saying. If you're learning from nature, you're getting that survival of the fittest thing. If you're getting the real true definition of it, then it doesn't mean what the way people think of it today.